Oh, okay. I'm sighing so much because I recorded this morning, a video on oregano for Tammy. Thanks for donating, Tammy. This time you can hear me say it. Because I recorded this morning without sound. How frustrating. So I thought I'd better just get it over and done with. It's now the opposite time of the day at night. Let's just do it. I remember I started look, I've got the video in my files here. It's all completed and it went for like half an hour. I sent it to Tammy and then I realised, oh no, there's no sound. Okay. So luckily I've still got all the things I opened this morning here highlighted. So I can retrace my steps a little bit. Oh my god. Frustration of technology, eh? Alright, so I remember that I first wanted to talk about things that cut breast milk. Herbs that... Let's see if it's still in there. Cut breast milk. So this link should also be there. Oh, there it is. So luckily I've got my browser information saved and I can just revisit all these same articles with sound this time. Yeah, okay, so anyway, basically before we get into oregano, Tammy was telling me certain herbs cut breast milk. The natural estrogen in sage may be helpful in reducing your milk supply. You know, things like tabbouleh, parsley, all this stuff, they cut breast milk. I don't even want to get into this too much right now. Look, here's just a quick article on it. It's so easily to research for yourself. The cabbage leaves, while you can put them on engorged breasts to, you know, reduce the swelling, if you eat cabbage, apparently it will also cut the breast milk. I'm pretty sure it's saying that here, or was that in another article? Anyway, I found that at some point this morning. So there's a lot of herbs that will cut breast milk. Let's just move on to oregano again. Okay. And let's do the end of... Where was that oregano and marjoram? Let me see. We're going to have to go to this video. I want to do the end of the video first because there was a part of the video where I was checking. Yeah, that's it there. SallyBernstein.com. There's a part of the video that that's probably it there. At the end I was going into the difference between oregano and marjoram. So let's just do that first and then we'll just cover oregano and finish the video. As I began to do my research for this article, I discovered that there is a lot of confusion about oregano and marjoram, not only in how things are labelled at the nurseries, but among the experts as well. Let's go back and have a look at the difference. If we go back here, and we go back down to here, you can see marjoram there, and you know, oregano there, and they look very similar. Anyway, let's start out with the fact that all marjorams are oreganos. They're all in the same genus, Oreganum, as I've figured out. Certainly some of the overlapping comes from the fact that marjoram used to have its own genus. Now oregano is the genus and for marjoram, or sweet marjoram, Oreganum marjorana, is only one variety of over 50 types of oreganos. So actually marjoram is a type of oregano. Pot marjoram, Oreganum onites, is another variety, but even this causes confusion, sometimes being called Cretan oregano because of its place of origin. Well, is that like a Greek island, I think? Or something, Cretes, or whatever it is called. There is even confusion outside the genus itself. In Puerto Rico there is a variety, Coleus anboinicus, which is marketed as oregano and is often used in combination with bay leaf and celery as a traditional Cuban seasoning. In Spain there is Thymus numularius. In case you don't know what thyme is, there's thyme there, and it's even got smaller leaves than this. I'm guessing most of you know what thyme is, or thyme. And in Mexico there is a Lipia graveoliens, both sold and used in place of oregano. So they're selling thyme and some other thing as oregano. One last example of how it gets all jumbled up is Oreganum vulgare, or what is taken for common oregano is also known as wild marjoram. So anyway, there's a lot of confusion about it, rah rah, you can read into that article more if you want. I just want to get this video over and done with. Sorry to be rushing, it was just really annoying. I want to go have a shower. I've had a long day. I did find some good information on oregano though, so let's get into these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles here. Okay, it's a medicinal, it's in the mint family, Lamicaceae. Yeah, look, I remember what I was saying at the start of the video was, the way I like to use oregano is grow a few varieties in the garden, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket type of thing. So I'll grow 3 plants of it or something, and that's enough, because I don't really use it too regularly. The way I use oregano is for when I have, if say I wake up and the blanket fell off and I wake up with like almost a sore throat and you know you almost got a cold that night, I don't get sick anymore because I'm so healthy these days, and I've got videos about that, about white blood cell production in my thymus and your smile to your thymus and all this energy work stuff, light body connotation and notation deals and meditations and techniques and all this business. We're not going into that, that's beyond the scope of this. But the point is, I like to use oregano. I'll take a handful if I ever have anything considering or coming close to near a sore throat. Or if I feel like I'm going to get a cold, I know how to now stave off that cold so I don't actually get the cold. It's like I can get the virus in me and then I can recognize it so early and so quickly that I can get rid of it before I actually get mucus and get sick and all this. Look, I'll make more videos about that in the future, and we'll go into depth. I've only just finished my degree, or I'm just about to finish now, so I'll be able to do consciousazine full time. I'm going to cover everything. I'm going to be an amazing healer. I'm going to do this for the next 74 years, so just look out for those videos in the future. Anyway, the way I like to use oregano is take a handful up to 4 times a day or something. That's why I went into the breast milk article, because and if you're pregnant, which we'll get into in a second in the next article, that's why I went into the breast milk stuff, because if you're taking 4 or 5 handfuls of oregano a day, it will probably start to affect you and cut your breast milk, because that's quite large dosing, because it's such a strong herb. Now, the way I use it is for that reason, because it's like an anesthetic. So in other words, I use it instead of a cough lolly or a throat lozenge. That's how I use oregano. And that's pretty much the only way I use oregano from my garden fresh. I do also buy oregano because it's just so cheap here in Uruguay. You get a massive bag for like $2 and it lasts just months. And that's dried oregano, and then I'll put that in turmeric, and I'll put that on my teeth. I'll rub it on my gums for gum health. Actually, that's said later on here that oregano is really good for your gums and gingivitis and gum disease. That's in an article coming in a minute. So that's how I use oregano basically. I'll use it out of the garden fresh, basically only as an emergency thing. As a, yeah, I'll pick to keep the plant cut back, I'm always going out there and picking a few stems off. But I mean, to really get down and nitty gritty with it and use it to any sort of, seismal effect, or using quite a lot of it, is waiting till I get sick. Anyway, let's move on. So, let's see. The chemicals that give this herb its unique and pleasant smell are thymol, which is in thyme as well, pinene, limonen, which is in heaps of herbs, carvacrol, which is the main compound in oregano, osimen, and caraphyllin. So it has great antioxidant properties. You can treat acne and dandruff with it. It's got fibre, manganese, vitamin E. But listen, oregano is not a nutrient-dense food, as we'll see in the last article, or one of the articles coming. It's a medicinal. That's how I see it. It's not like a food plant that you're sort of just eating. It's not a nutrient-dense plant. It's a medicinal. It's something that I use, like I told you, for a cough lozenge, that kind of way. And we'll see that it's not really that nutrient-dense. It's more of a medicinal. It has all these anesthetic, antibacterial, antiviral properties, these really antiseptic properties, anti-inflammatory, and so on. So, Oreganum vulgare essential oils were effective against 41 strains of food pathogen Listeria monocytogenes. The essential oil of Himalayan oregano has strong antibacterial properties that can even kill the hospital superbug MRSA. Identified active ingredient in oregano known as beta-caryophyllene, which may possibly be useful against disorders such as osteoporosis and arterial sclerosis. Also protects against cancer here, they say. There's a link there, that's what that little thing is there. You could just quickly scroll down to the... Hey, where is that link? Usually that means that they've got a reference. Okay, I don't know where that is. No, well, that's right, they had it there. Good one, Ben. So actually the link's in there. So that takes us to a journal article, I'm guessing. Anyway, you can search that out for yourself. So it stops tumour growth by the looks of it. Stops colds, muscle pain, acne, dandruff, bronchitis, toothache, bloating. Definitely very good for your mouth. Heart conditions. Now, I put oregano oil... Sorry, this is one other way I use oregano. I put it in olive oil, which also has oleuropein, which is highly antiviral. And I make that... I put it in a little tincture bottle, and I mix it with about a quarter eucalyptus tincture. Just get some eucalyptus trees leaves, make it into tincture, mix that with a quarter of that and then 2/3 of the oregano oil with thyme, oregano in it, and I soak that out in the sun in the olive oil. So I've got 2/3 olive oil, oregano, thyme oil, and 1/3 eucalypt tincture, and that is for my mouth, and that's what I'm making for myself these days, because it's cheaper than buying anything off the internet, because all these trees are just growing around everywhere like eucalypt, and you just get a little bit of vodka. Go for your 5-time distilled Orloff vodka if you can find it. That's what I'm using. You can just use Smirnoff, you know, just any vodka if you really want. The more times of distillation a vodka has, the more it will pull out anything that you're soaking in it. So you put oregano in there, you put eucalypt in there, whatever, in your alcohol, and it soaks out the goodies and all these good compounds, and then I make it into a tooth tincture. So anyway, repels insects, menstrual cramps, fatigue, earache, intestinal parasites, allergies, heart conditions. It's good stuff. Let's go to WebMD. So WebMD adds urinary tract infections, cramps, rheumatoid arthritis, heartburn, croup. Not sure what croup is. Let's have a look at that. Croup. Come on, you can do it. Okay, it doesn't want to load. We'll just see if that'll load. Yep, slowly in the background. Okay, that just did not do anything. Alright, let's just have a look on Google. What is croup? It's a young children barking cough. Okay. So it's good against barking cough. Definitely. It's an anesthetic. Now, not even thyme does that to my throat in the way oregano does. I love thyme because it's highly antibacterial and it raises my vibration a lot. I've talked about thyme before in one of my videos, in one of my Amalgaman Maximum Novelty Health video series. because it has little pink flowers, ultraviolet, and it really raises your vibration time. However, oregano is something I use for the anesthetic property and the antiseptic and antibacterial as well, but mainly the anesthetic property. So you can see there some other things it can do: varicose veins and ringworm, rosacea, athlete's foot, swine flu. So there you go, some parasites. Definitely it will help you clear parasites out of you. It may or may not be as effective as wormwood, but you might want to take them in conjunction. Also, I like to visit this website because it has side effects here. So you don't want to use it if you're pregnant. It's possibly unsafe, and plus it's probably going to cut down your breast milk, like we've already talked about. Oregano might increase the risk of bleeding in people with bleeding disorders. It can cause allergies. However, in other articles coming up, we're going to see that it's anti-allergenic, and I do get that feeling when I eat oregano, that it's anti-allergenic, like when you eat bee pollen. You just get that same feeling. It's like it stops inside tickles. That's the feeling I get. Anti-allergenic. Now, diabetes. It can interact with diabetes in the way of lowering blood sugar levels. So if you're a diabetic, you might just want to take low doses and check out how it affects you. Surgery. It might increase the risk of bleeding. People who use oregano should stop 2 weeks before surgery. Okay. Let's go into this article, thekitchen.com. Let's have a look-see. There's some nice oregano. Joy of the mountain. Why should I grow it? Oh yes, okay, so it's a perennial, which means it grows longer than 3 years and it doesn't just go to flower annually then die. So it's not just going to go to flower after 1 year and then die. They're the type of plants I love to grow because it's minimal effort. They just keep growing. You know, you just throw some water on them now and then in between the rain periods and, you know, put them in pretty good soil and you're good to go. Now, in a previous video that I haven't published yet, I was looking at certain plants and what soils they prefer, and oregano seemed to prefer about a 6 or 6.5 pH soil from my research. Just says here fertile soil, so that's why I mentioned it. Companion planting. It can grow near almost anything, they're saying. Tomatoes, peppers, yep. Yeah, oregano is pretty good. I haven't seen it complain about too many plants near it or anything. It can also help you stave off some small insects and stuff, because it's a thing that they'll eat and go, whoa, what was that? So I love to put thyme and oregano around the garden in that fashion as well, so that if you've got snails, you've got, I don't know, whiteflies, aphids, whatever you've got, all these little insects and all these unbeneficial, these bad bugs, so to speak, that eat our leaves that we want to eat, they go on to things like thyme and oregano, and often, you know, that can turn them off your garden if you have enough of it around. There's not much in that article. Let's move on. 10 uses of organic oregano oil from globalhealingcenter.com. Fights infection. Fights free radicals. Yeah. Everything fights free radicals. Isn't that just everywhere these days? Everything's an antioxidant. No, but it's true. Okay, so it fights salmonella and E. coli even. So that's showing its power. I don't know if it was this article or another one, but it did say that you do not lose the beneficial benefits of the oregano oil by boiling it. So you can actually boil it and still get the benefits, apparently. But, you know, it is going to change it somehow. You can just imagine molecules ripping apart, right? Protects against harmful organisms. Source of essential nutrients, yeah, ish. Digestive aid, definitely. It's very good for your digestion and cleaning that out a bit. It did say somewhere why. Oh yeah, bile production. It increases the flow of bile like all bitters do. You know, it's good for the duodenum and all this. So that's how it helps digestion. It's also apparently good for menstrual aid. Okay. Doesn't say why, but it says it's good as a menstrual aid. And negative menopause experiences. Women. Supports graceful aging, antioxidation, allergy support, yeah. Definitely I do feel that from it. Doesn't say anything special there. The active ingredient carvacrol is thought to modulate genes and reduce irritation in white adipose tissue. In one study, when fed a high-fat diet, mice not given carvacrol quickly became obese. In contrast, mice given carvacrol gained significantly less weight and even had lower levels of cholesterol and triglycerides in their blood. Eases discomfort and sore muscles, most definitely, and definitely when you put it, they've mentioned it, in olive oil, like I already mentioned to you. So yeah, oregano oil is definitely one of the best ones to mix into olive oil to soothe your muscles, but also just to, look, I shower with olive oil and coconut oil, that's it. I don't use any synthetic products unless I'm really dirty. Then yeah, I'll use a soap, and hopefully it's a natural soap, but you know, you're at someone's house sometimes, what can you do? Combats the cold, definitely. That's how I said I used it, remember? Here we go, we have a recommendation from Dr. Edward here. When searching for oregano oil product, make sure to look for one that is organic. Yes, in liquid form definitely is a good way to do it. You know, the liquids hold all the noble substances. When you get powders, like I remember a year ago when I was back in Australia visiting my parents for the last time, they were on powders, and I was telling them you want to go always for liquids because they contain all the good stuff, you know. The powders of stuff, of any, you know, plant and that, it's usually not as good. And it's more dead. And so you want a virgin cold pressed olive oil base and has at least 80% carvacrol content. Yep. Someone else told me that very high, if you get like 90% carvacrol content, you can heal HPV, which is human papillomavirus, or human genital warts. And a side note on that, apparently my moringa tincture did heal a lady's anal warts. They just fell off after a little tincture of mine of Moringa oleifera, the drumstick tree. So it says here 2 to 3 times daily. Yeah, that's how I recommend you take tinctures as well. Let's go to the next article from WH Foods. This one had the breakdown of the nutrition. That's right. So it's from the Mediterranean, blah blah blah. Very effective against bacteria, including Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Staphylococcus aureus, and Giardia lamblia. Now, I did research those last time, so we may as well this time. I hope you all know, you probably all know Staphylococcus, so I won't research that one. Let's go into what this thing is. It's a gram negative, which means it just stains a certain colour. What's it do again? Let's just go. I already visited the other one. Let's go to that one. I'll go back. Now go forward. Okay. Alright, so it is an infection to do with pneumonia, I think. Okay, let's go back. Oh, that's why it sounds like pneumonia. Good one. So it's like a pneumonia sort of infection by the looks of it. Let's see what this one is. Intestinal Something to do with the intestine parasites. Okay. So there you go. All sorts of bacteria it fights. Plus we saw, remember, E. coli already and salmonella. Potent antioxidant activity, thymol and rosmarinic acid. I wonder if that's the stuff in rosemary as well. I have not done a video on rosemary yet, and we're not going to research that right now because this will probably come up in Rosemary's video. And yeah, rosemary is awesome. I definitely grow it because you just take a cutting off someone's tree, stick it in the ground, and half the time it grows, half the time it doesn't. So you just take 20 cuttings and 10 of them will grow. I've got rosemary growing all around my garden now. Again, it helps stave off a few little bad bugs sometimes. So it's been demonstrated, oregano has demonstrated stronger antioxidant capacity than either of the two synthetic antioxidants commonly added to processed food, BHT and BHA. So stronger than the synthetics. We win again! I never recommend taking anything synthetic unless it's the absolute last resort. It's got a little bit of vitamin K. We don't care about the history so much. I'm going to go down to this big nutritional profile here. You can just see everything's pretty low in amounts. Well, if you haven't studied, go check out hemp seed and correlate this to hemp seed, and you'll see exactly what I mean by this is not such a nutrient dense food. This is more of a medicine, treating all these bacteria and all this stuff. Because look at all what it's got in it. It doesn't have much of anything. As in the way of nutrition, some micrograms, but so it's not exactly a nutrient-dense food. So it's got all the good stuff for the eyes, though. It does have some good stuff for the eyes, and I do feel the effects on my face and eyes. It would also help facial dyskinesia, like bee pollen and rutin does. So these sort of compounds help in that facial dyskinesia as well. So as you can see, it doesn't have too much of everything. It's got high calcium, you might say, compared to everything in phosphorus, There's not much of anything in there. It's not too nutrient dense, in my opinion. And again, that's reiterated here in the fatty acid, sorry. 0 gram, 0 gram, 0 gram, and then the amino acids also very low. If you go check out the amino acid profile of hemp seeds, they're all very high. So that's what I mean, it's not very nutrient dense. Correlate it to see what I mean. Now, Dr. Axe, or Aches, as I call him. Dr. Aches, hold on. Yeah, okay. Carvacol and thymol. So, it can treat ringworm and athlete's foot. Mix oregano oil and apply topically. Yes, so treat candida, yeast infections, and UTIS, or UTIS, urinary tract infection, I think that is. Actually, what is UTIS? I better make sure. UTIS. Yeah, urinary tract infection. So, combined with a ketogenic diet and probiotics, it can treat them. Now, a ketogenic diet is a fat-based diet, like if you eat more coconut oil, more olives, more palta or avocado, then you put your body in ketogenesis, and it's a ketogenic diet rather than a sugar-based diet. Say you eat a lot of lemon, a lot of orange and the sugary fruits, then you're on a sugar-based diet. So they're talking about a ketogenic diet here. And a ketogenic diet will heal a lot of things just by being on a fat-based diet and getting sugar out of the way. Oregano oil benefits are unstoppable. Okay, This is what they're saying it treats: tumours, allergies, candida, inflammation, viruses, parasites, fungal infections, bacterial infections. So, Journal of Medicinal Food says it fights against 5 different types of bacteria. E. coli is mentioned again. Something about it killing cancer in Brasilia de pharmacogenosia. Sounds like, oh, it's from Pakistan. So I was going to say it sounds like it's from Brazil. Okay, let me have a look here. Okay, the predominant phenol in oil of oregano is, in a league of its own, shown to protect against methotrexate toxicity in rats. Carvacrol was shown to prevent side effects to some of the world's most dangerous drugs or pharmaceuticals. Methotrexate is a drug commonly used to treat a wide array of issues from cancer to rheumatoid arthritis, well known to have dangerous side effects, and apparently the researchers in Turkey evaluated oil of oregano's ability to keep those factors at bay and stop the negativity of this drug. So it can actually help you when you're on synthetics as well. So, and we have not seen any drug interaction warnings, so it seems safe to take oregano while you're on synthetic pharmaceuticals, and it seems to actually help. So there you go. Used to treat deficiency anemia, oral iron. I don't know, it didn't have much iron in it. If you're trying to stop anemia, please see my anti-anemia video where I went through things like cacao, which have the highest iron content in the world. You know, you want to go for them, those things, and things like parsley. Probably not oregano. So anyway, that'll do me. Thanks a lot for donating, Tammy, and I'm glad I finally got this video up with some sound. And I am Benjamin Cowenberg from www.consciousazine. Oh, I'm not typing. consciousazine.com. And this is a $30 Bandit food plant teaching series production, and anyone in the world can donate to have me shoot a video to help me eat food, because I will not work in your sick society. I will only do great work, otherwise I will rather die. Thank you. Oh,
Trees are still my jam.